I understand it's a real thing. And back in the day, I thought this was total cuckoo land.
Yep.
Initially.
Yep. And I got to say, I probably would agree with you. I mean, I know when the vaccines rolled out, that's the first thing that happened, right? Is social media started to make noise. And it was really driven by women. And there's very good reasons for that, who were reporting sudden menstrual abnormalities after years or decades of really regular cycles. And they were noticing that it started to happen. They were talking amongst their friends, and these women started to notice that their cycles were off, heavy bleeding, missed periods, things like that, painful periods, and they hadn't been vaccinated. But they were, everyone was getting vaccinated. And then there were social media groups where they started to talk about this and share it. And then there was one group that started a website called My Cycle Story, where women were able to, relate these things. But when there's truth, when the fact checkers come after you, right? So those Facebook groups were disbanded. They were, deplatformed. There was articles saying how ludicrous this was. This is just social media craze. And so I'm like you. I mean, I kind of listened to it. I didn't know really what to make of it, and I didn't know what shedding really was and how that could be possible. But, I finally did the scientific research. So here is my evolution is, in fact, the first patient I treated was March of 2021. It was a woman who got to me through actually a podcast that I had done an interview with. And she related that she had gone to a massage therapist who had gotten boosted the day before. And she came home that night, and I think she missed her period within 2 days. She had tender, swollen breasts. She was cramping. And she said she'd been so regular for the last 20 years. She was 43, I think. She said this was totally abnormal. And she really related it to that very close exposure to the massage therapist. And I didn't really know what to do for her. I knew ivermectin binds spike, and I thought maybe there was some shedding of spike, and I actually put her on ivermectin, and actually she got her period back. She hadn't had her period, I think, about 6 or 8 weeks by the time she talked to me, and she still was very uncomfortable, and about 5 days after ivermectin, she got her period back. I had one other anecdote very similar to that, and then I didn't have any more for a long time, and then I opened my practice. And what happened is me and my partner, we started to see these phenomenon in our patients, some of them even vaccine-injured patients. So everybody thinks, shedding, it's only the unvaccinated who are screaming, right? The anti-vaxxers who are saying they're being shed upon. That's not true. I have vaccine-injured patients who are sensitive to being exposed to other vaccinated. And so it's not just unvaccinated who are at risk. And so we saw these phenomena. Now, one of the things, it's a small cohort that are sensitive to shedding phenomenon. I think shedding is very common, but how often can it actually affect someone else? That's very variable. And our best insight to this point, after doing a lot of research, talking with a lot of other clinicians, is that it tends to happen to people who are very sort of environmentally sensitive, either or pharmacologically sensitive, like they can't handle pharmaceuticals, environments, have allergies, things like that, and some of them are really quite sensitive, but that's why I think most of us are unaffected. I also think there's a cohort out there who are sensitive and they just don't know what's happening.